It is my pleasure to welcome you to this in-depth lecture, the third part of the 7th E. Ezra Congress, International Edition, where we will delve into the anatomy and sonography of the thoracic spine. Ultrasounds of the thoracic spine are more challenging than those of the lumbar spine. The ability to visualize neuroaxial structures with ultrasound may vary depending on the level at which imaging is performed, with poorer visibility of the neuroaxis at higher thoracic levels. Regardless of the level at which the scan is performed, imaging of the thoracic spine is probably best obtained with the patient seated. The thoracic spine plays a protective role by enclosing the spinal cord and articulating with the ribs to form the thoracic cage, which safeguards vital organs such as the heart and lungs. Each thoracic vertebra connects to a rib through two joints, costovertebral and costotransverse, creating a rigid yet flexible structure. This design not only provides structural support and protection, but also allows for controlled movement during respiration as the rib cage expands and contracts. Together, the thoracic spine and rib articulations ensure stability, protection, and functional mobility. From a structural standpoint, the thoracic vertebrae considered truly typical or classical are those between T5 and T8. The vertebrae from T1 to T4 exhibit features reminiscent of cervical vertebrae, sharing several anatomical characteristics with them. Conversely, the vertebrae from T9 to T12 represent a transition towards the lumbar region, displaying structural traits similar to those of the lower spinal segments. As in other regions of the spine, the thoracic vertebrae are composed of a vertebral body and a posterior arch. This arch, similar to that of the lumbar region, consists of the spinous process, laminae, articular processes, transverse processes, and pedicles. However, their structure differs from that of lumbar vertebrae, as it is adapted to the specific functions of the thoracic segment, such as articulation with the ribs and contributing to the stability of the thoracic cage. In this three-dimensional image, we can observe the different components of a thoracic vertebra: spinous process, transverse processes, laminas, body, and articular processes. Thoracic vertebrae have a nearly cylindrical vertebral body, with a size intermediate between cervical and lumbar vertebrae. This body features costal facets that allow articulation with the ribs. The vertebral canal is narrower than in the cervical and lumbar regions and has a circular shape. The spinous processes are long, slender, and angled downward and backward, caudally inclined. The transverse processes are also strong and elongated, and they bear articular facets for the tubercle of the corresponding rib. The superior articular processes are oriented posteriorly, whereas the inferior articular processes face anteriorly. As in the lumbar region, the thoracic spine can be examined in both the axial and sagittal planes. On the axial plane, two different patterns can be identified. The transverse interspinous view is almost impossible to obtain in the mid-thoracic region, and therefore transverse scanning provides little useful information other than to help identify the midline. In axial plane scanning, two scanning patterns can be identified. The interlaminar pattern, which is observed in the axial plane, corresponds to the space between two adjacent laminae. In this plane, the acoustic shadow generated by the spinous process of the vertebra above can be seen. This structure blocks the ultrasound beam from reaching the spinal canal, often making it difficult to visualize the posterior complex, while the anterior complex may still be identified, although with limited clarity. The transverse processes, costo-transverse joints, and bilateral ribs can also be identified. The laminar pattern is obtained when the ultrasound beam strikes the base of the spinous process of the same vertebrae, as well as the laminae and inferior articular processes. In this real-time video, the interlaminar pattern can be identified, showing the acoustic shadow cast by the spinous process of the superior vertebra, along with the spinal canal and the anterior complex. The transverse process, costotransverse joints, and ribs are also clearly visible. In the laminar pattern, the acoustic shadow generated by the base of the spinous process, along with the laminar and inferior articular process, obscures the view and prevents the identification of deeper anatomical structures. Scanning in the sagittal or longitudinal axis allows for the identification of 4 distinct patterns. Despite the narrow acoustic window, sagittal paramedian oblique scanning at the level of the interlaminar space provides valuable information for neuraxial block procedures. The laminae appear as flat, hyperechoic structures casting anterior acoustic shadows, and the posterior and anterior complexes can often be visualized within this acoustic window. The image resembles overlapping roof tiles. However, the epidural space, spinal cord, central canal, and anterior complex are generally difficult to delineate and are seldom visualized in the mid-thoracic region. By applying a slight tilt or sliding the transducer a few millimeters laterally, the bony structures begin to converge, blocking the passage of ultrasound waves between them. At this point, the transducer is positioned over the thoracic articular processes, and the inferior margin of the facet joint can be identified on ultrasound. The resulting image resembles the laminar pattern, characterized by the appearance of overlapping roof tiles. However, unlike in the laminar view, the tiles in this case appear fully superimposed, leaving no visible acoustic space between them. The lateral displacement of the transducer allows positioning over the transverse processes. At this level, a characteristic ultrasound image is obtained, resembling the so-called trident sign observed in the lumbar region, a hyperechoic structure located more superficially than the vertebral laminae with an associated posterior acoustic shadow. Through the acoustic window between transverse processes, pleural sliding may be visualized at deeper levels, albeit with limited resolution. The ribs produce a characteristic ultrasound pattern known as the bat sign, which is observed in sagittal views as a series of hyperechoic semicircular structures corresponding to the bony surfaces of the ribs, each accompanied by a posterior acoustic shadow. In contrast to the transverse processes of the vertebrae, which may produce similar sonographic appearances, the ribs are located more superficially, exhibit a more curved and uniform morphology, and allow for clear identification of pleural sliding within the intercostal spaces, an essential feature for dynamic lung assessment. During a dynamic scan from medial to lateral, the initial sonographic view reveals the shingled appearance of the vertebral laminae and the interlaminar gap, which facilitates the identification of neuroaxial structures, including the anterior and posterior spinal complexes. As the probe is moved laterally, the shingled pattern closes, eliminating the acoustic gap and preventing ultrasound penetration, indicating that the scan has reached the level of the thoracic facet joints. Further lateral displacement reveals the trident sign, which corresponds to the transverse processes. Occasionally, pleural sliding can be visualized in depth between the acoustic shadows of these structures. When the transducer is placed over the costal cage, the ultrasound image shows superficial, hyperechoic semicircular structures with clearly visible pleural sliding between them. The paramedian sagittal scan represents the most frequently employed sonographic approach for evaluating neuroaxial structures at the thoracic level. This technique allows the insonation of key anatomical landmarks such as the laminae, interlaminar spaces, and posterior spinal complex, and is especially useful when midline acoustic windows are suboptimal or inaccessible due to spinous process angulation. Visualization of deeper neural elements can be optimized by slightly angling the transducer medially, thereby obtaining the so-called oblique paramedian sagittal view. This maneuver aligns the ultrasound beam with the interlaminar window, facilitating improved delineation of structures lying within the spinal canal. At the thoracic level, however, the interlaminar gap is significantly narrower than in the lumbar region. This anatomical limitation results from the greater overlap of the thoracic laminae and the reduced spacing between them, which constrains acoustic access to deeper neuroaxial components. Consequently, only the posterior complex, including the ligamentum flavum and posterior dura mater, and in some cases, elements of the anterior complex, such as the vertebral body and anterior dura, can be visualized reliably. The limited sonographic window in the thoracic spine underscores the importance of optimal probe angulation, depth adjustment, and the use of low-frequency curvilinear transducers, which offer superior penetration despite lower resolution. Furthermore, understanding the thoracic vertebral morphology and the steeper inclination of the spinous processes is essential for accurate probe placement and image interpretation.